Hello, my brilliant twin flames. Welcome back to another reading. This one's for the Divine Masculine, or about the Divine Masculine, I should say, and what he wants to say to you specifically. So I apologize if I get a little emotional tonight. I just had a Reiki session, and it was very illuminating. So if you are struggling, we still have Mars, Mercury, I think Uranus just went direct. And a lot of these planets are in Scorpio right now in retrograde, which has a habit of unearthing some serious stuff. So if this is you and transformation tends to hit you like a ton of bricks, Spirit would like me to draw you a card tonight. So just comment in the comments below and I will pick you a specific card for your personal journey. All right, so let's get right to it. We're going to have the headspace, heart space, and action space. So for all of my viewers, what is their Divine Masculine thinking about right now? What is he thinking? He or she, doesn't need to be gender specific. Haha. Starting off our reading here with the beautiful 10 of Cups. What a lovely sign. All right. 10 of Cups, an ending, but also a new beginning. And they want it all. They want it all with you. I also feel like they want it all in their personal life, because we do have the Two of Wands upside down here. It's almost like they want to have everything together before they come forward to you, because they know that this partnership is the one. They know that you are their divine counterpart. But they also know that in order to love someone else, you need to love yourself first, and not just yourself, but your divine self, this relationship to the divine that's in alignment with what you want to accomplish, what soul mission has been destined for you if you're a twin flame. And they're not quite there yet. So, and the Wheel of Fortune. So here we are. Interestingly enough, we have the tens on either side of this reading for the headspace. So the Divine Masculine is really thinking about his transitions again, the endings and beginnings of things. And there's a lot of chaos going on here in this card. I feel like a lot of them aren't sleeping very well at this time, although that's very common. But you see this kind of struggle for balance here, which is really nice. And of course, since we've had this new moon in Libra, we should all be in the mood to strive for balance right now. Now, this card just fell out here. We have fire. So let's not forget, Mars is still in Aries retrograde until, I believe, the 13th of November. So I'm sensing that our Divine Masculine right now is having trouble controlling his emotions. Maybe if you're in separation and you don't have any contact with them right now, I'm kind of sensing that this is the reason, because they're afraid they're going to get triggered and say something that is going to set you off, set them off. And union is so close for some of you. I mean, we really do have the energy here of union present and of creating something new. But it's just not, there's just something missing here. So I want a little bit more, here it is, clarification on that. Again, the Divine Masculine has doubt. He's doubting that he has the emotional capacity to take you on. He's doubting that you're going to want him unless he has all of the 10 of Cups here. And he's worried about going through the motions with you. He's worried about going through the ups and downs of life. He kind of wants everything to be perfect. Oh, here we go. Support. Yes. So then we have this card, support. I think he's feeling a little unsupported at this time through friends and family. I think that there's also a huge transformation here happening for him with the snake. But he's just feeling a little down on himself. He's not really happy at this point with being charged as an infinite being with the soul mission. He'd rather do his own thing, I'm hearing. And he'd rather also just be abundant. It's almost like, you know, when there's this misconception sometimes about the American dream for people that immigrate here. They see all of the wealth that the country has overall, and sometimes there's just this feeling like I'm just going to step in and obtain all of it, which is kind of an illusion in general around wealth. Wealth isn't just handed to you. I mean, for some people, it certainly have a leg up, that's for sure. But, you know, you have to work for it. And just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that that doesn't come with another whole set of problems. So there's some illusions here, I feel like, that the Divine Masculine has to contend with. And I think one of those is certainly like what happiness looks like. So I know for me in my own personal work, especially today, if you're feeling stuck, or if you're feeling rejected, or if you are moving through blockages like the belief that, you know, falling in love with somebody always leads to abandonment, you've got to find a way to like put that self-love back to you. And I think that's the challenge that both twins are really going through right now, because we have my mind and heart always come back to you. And we have, you've been in my dreams. And we have, let me try this. I'm constantly reminded of you. And I think these are all really serious indications here that Spirit is trying to remind us of the connection that we have with ourselves. So sorry if I'm getting a little deep more quickly than usual. But my Reiki master told me today, you know, you don't have to fear anything. Your divine self is there for you. Your inner being is there for you. And I was kind of floored because I'm thinking, you know, is she talking about my twin flame? This is crazy. But regardless, yay or nay, the overriding point really was that if you're able to be alone and connect in a deep listening manner, you'll learn what you like, what you don't like, where your boundaries are, and it'll give you this really strong sense of self and connectedness to not only Earth, but to the sky, to the divine. And it encompasses all things, so everybody starts becoming that loving person for you. And it's a lot easier to detach and not get an entire identity wrapped up in one specific person, even if that's, you know, your twin, the person that's supposed to be here for you. Because it's not really about your relationship with your twin flame, it's about your relationship to yourself, who your twin flame is. So anyway, food for thought. It's kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I really feel like it doesn't happen unless the first part happens, unless you fully accept yourself. So we have the Daughter of Pentacles here for how the Divine Masculine feels. Again, like I said, it's a really incredibly psychic time. So it's not uncommon for people to dream of you, think of you, to have astral sex at this moment. Scorpio, of course, being the sign of sex in a way. We have the Father of Swords Ooh, I just saw the Lovers. Oh, and look at this, Ten of Pentacles. So like there's a lot of wishful energy here, and there's a lot of understanding that it's not really the right time yet, and that a lot of things need to begin and a lot of things need to end before this actually happens. Now, of course, this is a general reading, so if you would like to know in your specific connection what's going on, I do have a couple of different readings, a love and relationships reading, which is a more in-depth reading, and a one quick question special. So feel free to shoot me an email or go to my website, or even just down below in the description to take advantage of any of those. Look at this. This is a fabulous reading. And the world, too, is here upside down as well. So you can see how we have a lot of circular energy. And the wheel is turning. That's kind of an amazing thing. But here are the energies that the Divine Masculine really bounces back and forth in between. You have this kind of timid, allowing, accepting energy of the feminine, and then you have this very stoic, very, even though patient and wise to a certain extent. This could be a person that's like looking at you through social media without you knowing. They both have kind of a quality of watching, but the Father of Swords is much more active. He's really content to stay put, whereas this Daughter of Pentacles is looking for a sign to move forward. So there's a bit of confliction in the Divine Masculine's heart. He's not really sure where he wants to go from here. All he knows is that he wants this Ten of Pentacles. He just kind of wants everything to fall in line. There's a lot of your Divine Masculines throw pity parties sometimes. It's kind of like a quality of like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And that's another thing I want to talk about as well. Like, you know, it's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing and a curse that you've been chosen to be here and to help the world up-level. You know, at some point, it almost feels like that golden age of childhood is over, because you're like, you know, my life isn't really about me anymore. It's about service to other people. It's about, you know, bringing unity, creating unity, being a peacekeeper, ushering in a new paradigm, and that's taken precedence over everything in my life, which can feel really like you have this sense of a lack of control. But the more you resist something, the more it continues to persist. Even if it doesn't actualize. So that's why a lot of twin flame coaches say don't chase your divine counterpart, because it's just going to create more resistance, and that resistance is going to keep persisting in that person's life. That's what they don't tell you. So don't feel defeated. Don't feel like you're too small for this mission. Don't ask yourself, why was I chosen? At some point, you've got to turn around and accept that this is where you belong. You belong with this person. You belong with this mission. You belong helping the world save itself, basically. And you're right where you're supposed to be. And I think that's one of the building blocks and pillars to accepting your divine self. So, food for thought. Okay, I want to know more about the Daughter of Pentacles and the Father of Swords here. Okay, so there's some truths that are unearthing. I really feel like that belongs with this one, because the Father of Swords, or the King of Swords, is a very decisive card, and he's analytical and fair. So in the center of the Divine Masculine's heart, he has the best of intentions and is unequivocal about weighing the good and the bad, the light and the dark. He'll make the right decision eventually, even if he feels a bit skittish, like the Daughter of Pentacles. And then there's a call for him to practice self-care here. So if you're masculine watching this video, that is what is asked of you. And of course, Reiki, massage, acupuncture, all of these holistic therapies are part of that. But there's also this very dreamy quality. See here again. I'd like to say that the Divine Masculine is using the powers of manifestation to try to, and the law of attraction, to just will, like Jedi, will these things into him. You see the rainbow here, the dreaming clouds here, but that's not enough, you know. You really have to decide, I want to put muscle behind this at some point. How do I do that? What step is going to take me to where I want to go? So that's definitely something I'm hearing coming through from Spirit. As far as the messages that he wants to tell you from his heart, beautiful messages today. Your beauty still moves me. I'm still thinking about you. Like, I really feel like a lot of them are watching you on social media without you knowing. This card came up twice now. Is it possible to forgive or forget? So I feel like, you know, the Divine Masculine is finally coming around those of you that have had a conflict, have had a discrepancy, maybe they've blamed you for something in the past. They're now realizing it takes two to tango and that they're responsible for that incident as much as you are. And I think that's part of where the self-care comes in as well, because look at this. I still love you. Oh, that's such a wonderful message from the heart. He's realizing that taking time for himself, getting into a place where he can not lie to himself, be honest, is going to transform the relationship, is going to reveal these hard truths to him, and ultimately not make him feel so defeated, because they're real, you know? We can live in the lie as long as we want, but that's not what resonates with our truth. So again, that's where the resistance comes from. And it's hard work, guys. I'm not kidding. Like, oh, he wants you to know he's not the same person that you remember. So that's wonderful. There's some growth happening. He's really working to change and have the outside match the inside is what I'm hearing. There's air energy represented by the Father of Swords, and there's also earth energy here. So I feel like for a lot of you, the Divine Masculine is a Libra, Aquarius. Oh gosh, what's the other one? Air. Gemini. And for those of you who your Divine Masculine is a woman, an earth sign, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, or any mix of the two. Those are definitely strong influences here. And then as far as the action space is what does he want to do? You know, is he going to come towards you? Okay, so we have the Four of Swords. This is very patient energy. It's a waiting energy. And I love how this lamb is becoming more enlightened, because I really feel like that's, oh, this is such a powerful card. This is like a Reiki card, honestly. I feel like your Divine Masculine wants to get to the point where nothing touches him. You know, you have these daggers, these swords, which could represent negative self-talk, toxic family members, neighbors, friends, a poor work relationship or poor work in general that's not suited. And he wants to be able to balance the material and the immaterial, the mundane with his passions, and yet be able to perfectly coast through life unhindered, unencumbered, you know, so he can kind of float on over to you, which sounds at this point a little unrealistic because of how much dreamy energy we have here. But actually I really like it, because it is possible to, you know, we choose what makes us suffer to a certain extent. Or I should say that we choose in our reactions to things how much we want to suffer. Normal things, of course. You know, there are tragedies out there. But in general, our reactions are the only things that we have control over. And he wants to be able to be somebody you can rely on to be there for you when it's your turn to have the downs of the ups and downs times, but not add to the problem. I've seen this before actually in different cards. And then we have the sun. So look at this. This is such crazy energy. 10, 1, 10. See that again? There are so many beginnings and endings here. So if you want to know how to help your person go in and do this crazy spiritual work, I'm telling you, even if they aren't looking to do this work, you can transform your connection by doing it for them. So don't feel wedded to the idea that what you do is completely separate from your person, because it really isn't. The sun is a lovely card as well for, oh, I just got this twice. The 7 of Wands upside down, reversed. So here we are here, and we want to get to here. There are some moments in the Divine Masculine's life where he feels really down on himself. He feels really defeated. He feels like this 10 of Cups is out of reach. But then there are other times where he acknowledges this is part of this twin flame journey. This fire is actually very helpful. It's what allows him to illuminate and radiate around him. It's what allows him to survive if he's in a situation where there's not a whole lot of money, or he just came to this country, or he's out on his own, what have you, starting a new venture. So there's that. But sometimes as well, this can also be a card of arrogance, which usually, since it's not upside down, I wouldn't say, but just be cautioned that you can have too much fire. And of course, Leo knows this more than anyone else because it is represented by the sun. But I really feel like some very positive things are happening here. And of course, we have the Empress in reverse on the bottom as well. So the Divine Masculine is not always tapping into that feminine energy like he should, but he knows that this is his ticket out of this. He knows that this is the way to balance. So I think that's a really, really good thing. Now, as far as why this 7 of Wands is upside down, why are you upside down? Aha. Yeah, again, the Divine Masculine, there are certain people or certain situations where he feels like he's not shining as brightly as he really wants to. So this is kind of a mixed bag. For some of you, I feel like he has days where he feels like he wants to move forward, and days where he wants a little bit more time contemplating. He doesn't feel like as confident as the Empress as you. He feels like you've surpassed him in the spiritual work to the nth degree, and that's what you're looking for him to do, which is not wrong to a certain extent, but you're different people, and the feminine tends to be much more of the nurturing soul anyway. So Divine Masculines out there, don't feel pressure to match her completely. Because we do have love, and both people in this connection deeply love each other. They deeply want the best for each other. They deeply want to grow together, and both of you know that in your heart is what I'm hearing. And then we have move on here. I love that this is the last card I drew for the first card. So your Divine Masculine really wants to move through these blockages. And I think that that's something we haven't seen from the Divine Masculine before. He wants to begin again. So whatever transformational thing happened to you, like I said, is happening to him. And it's not gone unnoticed. So here's some of the reasons why. Lying was just easier for me than telling you the truth. I think he feels really awful about that. You're an angel. Translation, you're too good for me. And I'm a better person because of you. the bottom it says, I just have to do something else right now. Please try and understand. So, in general, I feel that maybe that part of this unearthing the divine masculine is going through has to do with, like I said, being real to himself. I think he's feeling very embarrassed. I feel like maybe he told you that he didn't love you, and he did. Maybe there was somebody on the side and they lied about it. Maybe they were married before and they were like, I'm going to leave my person, and never did. Maybe they were resisting a same-sex relationship and saying, nope, I don't feel this way, this is not who I am, and then come to find out they actually do. Whatever it is, there's been some kind of deceptiveness here, and he feels really bad about this because, you know, you've been patient, you've been kind, you've been nurturing, you've given him everything he's needed to kind of work through this. But the masculine wants to do it alone. And that's one of the big lessons, I think, of this connection is, if we were supposed to do this like everybody else, we'd be doing it together, and we're not. There's so much work that two people in these kinds of connections have to go through separately before they come together. It's actually better, because then the two people would repel each other 100 times, maybe never even get back together, never get through the mission, because they're bogged down by 3D stuff. So if this is you, take your time. You're definitely not supposed to rush, and you can't fake the spiritual work. You can't just say, okay, I feel better about this, I'm going to leave this person alone, and then get really upset when they don't come forward. You can't trick the universe like that. But I think part of that, getting in a better relationship with your divine self, is knowing that whatever you do that steps forward in the right direction, you're improving the world, you're improving your connection, you're improving yourself. And that's the larger takeaway. This is a self-forwarding journey. And it is a purposeful romance second. So I'm going to wrap this reading up here with a card from the Practice You deck. All right. And if you feel so called, you can like this video, subscribe to my channel, take advantage of the readings down below, reach out and ask me questions, feel free to share your story down below, whatever have you. Forgiveness. And then it has an exercise, so if you're feeling so called, you can place one hand over your heart and one over your chest and sit quietly for 3 breaths. So we're cultivating a sense of deep listening. And whenever you feel the need to do this, whether you're in the middle of a heated argument, you're feeling lonely, you're holding a grudge for whatever reason, this is what Spirit wants you to welcome into your heart. So if this was a situation where your divine masculine knows that you know that they were lying, and he's worried about how to approach you about this, how do I come forward and say you were right without losing my pride or without looking too vulnerable? Because I know that's a big issue with the masculines. Here's a way to do it. Do a meditation, a guided meditation. There's several here on YouTube. Meditate on your own. Set an intention for forgiveness. And the way we do this really is to deeply understand why they did what they did. And I understand this is difficult because sometimes the explanation isn't there. But just knowing that we're people, we make mistakes, we do things because we're guided by our emotions and our fears, is enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to let that prevent me from thinking all the other beautiful, lovely things that I thought about you before. And it's water under the bridge at some point, however long the time passes by. So, this is what I have for you this week. Thanks for joining me. And in another week, we will take a look at the energies of the divine feminine and masculine, what we may be charged here to do on earth, and how best to get back into union. So stay tuned.